There are enemies and allies when you're talking about learning information about copyright, trademark, and other intellectual property. Your enemies for getting accurate information, your number one enemy is Google. Why? Because there is so much misinformation online. There is so much ignorance about intellectual property. And someone gets some advice or reads something on the copyright registrar's website and misinterprets it or doesn't realize that what they're reading is not the full extent of what's going on or what the law says. So if you go looking for intellectual property information online, you're going to find a lot of misinformation. Now, there are exceptions, of course. If you find, if you go to an IP attorney's website, many of them include great articles and information on, what is actual copyright law. But for the most part, what you will usually find in a search engine is misinformation. Your friends and family, they mean well, but they also are just as prone as the rest of us to getting misinformation or incomplete information. And then self-proclaimed experts. If someone who does not have a law degree says, I am an expert on intellectual property, disbelieve that person right away. The exception, under allies there, are self-proclaimed experts who give you the resources to fact-check everything they say, like me. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to give you the resources to make sure that everything I'm telling you is the truth. And to continue researching this and look into specific areas that I may not be able to touch on. Also, you want to look toward your number one resource for great information or accurate information about intellectual property is always an IP attorney. And their information is not always complete. You may talk to an attorney who doesn't know if this or that is legal or if this or that applies. But that attorney has the resources to find out the information and get back to you about it. They're your number one resource. You can also look to the U.S. Register of Copyrights and the USPTO, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. They have a lot of excellent information, but they're not the full breadth of IP law. And then federal court public records, because intellectual property is a federal level type of law, you will always litigate copyright and trademark issues in a federal court. So, and all of a federal court's records are public. They're out there for anybody to find. That's where you're going to find your best information, finding out who sued whom and about what, and what the judgment was. That's going to be the most complete information as to what's legal.